فحينا ربنا بالسلام يا سلام سلمنا أجمعين واجعلنا من عبادك الصالحين. Allahumma ya Rahim, on this glorious day, in conjunction with humanitarian aid fundraising for Palestine, we uphold our hands to pray gratefully to thank on your infinite favor to us till we can live in peace and harmony to perform our task as your servant. Allahumma ya Rahman ya Rahim, give the people of Palestine the ability to defend their rights, their blessed land and Al-Aqsa. Ya Allah, we raise our hands towards you and we ask you to be with our brothers and sisters and all those who are suffering in Palestine. Give them victory, cure them, and place peace and passion in their hearts. Give them freedom and increase their provision. Allahumma ya Rahman ya Rahim, you are the all-knowing, the writers of our story and fate. We are helpless without you. We humbly pray upon the greatness of you to aid us in our journey to help our brothers and sisters in Palestine. Allahumma ya Rahim, alleviate their ranks and remove their pain and suffering physically and mentally. Increase their reward. Always give them the power to stand against those who oppress them. Allahumma ya Rahman, place your light in our hearts and the heart of our brothers and sisters in Palestine. You are the most merciful in our hearts, no matter where we are and what kind of affairs we are trying to complete. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, bless this occasion and ease our journey to help the Palestinians. Grant us your barakah and rahmah. Grant victory to your religion, your book, and the sunnah of your Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahumma aslih ahwal al-muslimin fi Palestine. Allahumma aslih ahwal al-muslimin fi Palestine. وفي كل مكان يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. اللهم انصر إخواتنا المجاهدين في سبيله. اللهم انصر إخواتنا المجاهدين في فلسطين. اللهم انصر إخواتنا في الأرض الإسراء والمعراج. اللهم اهدهم صراطا مستقيما وافتح لهم فتحا مبينا وانصرهم نصرا عزيزا وأدم عليهم نعمتك وأنزل في قلوبهم سكينتك. اللهم وانصر عليهم فضلا ورحمتك. استجب اللهم دعاءنا وحقق فيك رجاءنا. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Palestine from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Kekerasan yang dilakukan secara tidak seimbang, sembarangan dan melampau ke atas Palestin.
How many more Palestinians must die before the Muslim Ummah collectively and genuinely take concrete actions to end this oppression?
Dunia penuh keganasan. semuanya akan berakhir. Manusia hilang pertimbangan, kuasa menjadi rebutan.
Tiada ketawa ria di mana cahaya ingin dasar.
Puteri Intan Safinaz, National Chairman of the Malaysia Untuk Society, Please welcome Tunku
Datuk Seri Hishammuddin Hussein, Minister of Foreign Affairs Malaysia, Yang Berhormat Datuk Kemudian Jaafar, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Seri Syarul Ikram Yaakob, Secretary General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Mr. Walid Abu Ali, Palestinian Ambassador to Malaysia, Dr. Yunus Al-Khatib, President of the Palestinian Red Crescent Society, ladies and gentlemen. Very good afternoon and greetings from the Malaysian Red Crescent. On behalf of the Malaysian Red Crescent, I am highly honoured to be part of this virtual launch event of the humanitarian aid fundraising for Palestine. And I thank Datuk Seri Hishammuddin and his team at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for initiating this most needful joint fundraising effort. We are all aware of the intensity of hostilities in Gaza, in West Bank, and also in Israel, and extreme violence that have affected the civilians there. Numerous lives have been lost, and many more have been left seriously injured. Severe damage has been caused to homes and essential infrastructure such as electricity supply, roads and buildings. Civilians are tormented with a vicious cycle of violence, and the daily lives of innocent people have been crippled. The devastation and suffering are simply beyond words. We all welcome the ceasefire, and we should focus on how the road to recovery to this latest crisis. I take this opportunity to thank the Palestinian Red Crescent Society's team, the staff and volunteers who have served on the front lines and provided the much needed essential medical, evacuation and ambulance services that are needed under extremely difficult situation, often risking their lives to save others. They have also been invariably affected and caught up in the conflict. There have been great concerns within the International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement on the violation of international humanitarian law and the violence against civilians, aid workers, children, and other vulnerable groups. Despite extreme challenges, humanitarian efforts have been ongoing, and yet nothing seems to be enough to rebuild the destruction and devastation caused by this conflict. Hospitals in Gaza and the West Bank have been overwhelmed with COVID-19 patients in these past weeks, and the health system, I've been told, is under huge strain and is unable to cope. The International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement, guided by the 7 fundamental principles of humanity, impartiality, neutrality, independence, voluntary service, unity, and universality, is supported by a network of 192 Red Cross and Red Crescent societies worldwide. The International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, EIFRC, and the International Committee of the Red Cross, the ICRC, who are components of the movement. And as such, the Malaysian Red Crescent is committed to support our sister national society, in this case, the Palestinian Red Crescent Society. The ICRC, as the lead agency in any conflict situation, is focusing heavily on the de-escalation of hostilities, the respect of IHL, the access to affected population and activities relating to restoring family links, medical supplies, and the repairs of emergency needs of water and energy, while the IFRC is involved in coordinating humanitarian relief assistance, health and medical aid supplies to the support of the Palestinian Red Crescent Society together with other national societies. Hence, the Malaysian Red Crescent Society can collaborate with the movement's effort and is happy to engage with this collective move to provide humanitarian support. In 2009, Malaysian Red Crescent Society contributed ringgit Malaysia 1 million towards the ICRC appeal for support for the physical auto-rehabilitation hospital, and subsequently in 2010 raised a further ringgit Malaysia 650,000 for the supply of medical equipment for Al-Quds Hospital and the supply of school kits to needy school children. Both these contributions were made possible by the generous support from the Malaysian public and the government of Malaysia. Once again, Malaysian Red Crescent Society has stepped up to create awareness of the existing situation and plight of the Palestinian people, and has launched a public appeal for humanitarian relief and medical aid, working to assist the Palestinian Red Crescent to help communities that are badly affected by this distressful situation. Having said that, we are very grateful for this collaboration with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and being able to support the Palestinian Red Crescent Society by donating US dollars 30,000. And I'm glad that this amount will be matched by the government of Malaysia and that our joint efforts will, in a way, be a small ray of hope and reduce their sufferings. I'm sure there will be a lot more to be done in rebuilding the lives of these communities. And I expect and hope that more contributions will come our way towards this meaningful cause to enable more assistance to be channeled to the Palestinian Red Crescent to provide the much needed humanitarian services and interventions. Thank you, Malaysia. Thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Her Highness Tunku Puteri Intan Safinaz. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I invite Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Hishammuddin Tun Hussein, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Malaysia, to deliver his remarks. Please welcome Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri.
Wabarakatuh. Your Highness, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to everyone at home in Malaysia, our Malaysian Embassy in Egypt and Jordan, the Palestinian Ambassador here in Kuala Lumpur, the Palestinian Red Crescent in Gaza, and those watching across all our social media platforms. Firstly, I would like to thank the Malaysian Red Crescent Society and Her Highness Tunku Puteri Intan Safinaz as National Chairman for taking the time. As we all know, Malaysia has taken a very strong, consistent position on the matter, and no question about it, Malaysia stands with Palestine. Throughout the recent crisis in Jerusalem and Gaza, we have seen Malaysians rally behind the Palestinians. Our voice was heard throughout the world, and for that, I would like to thank all Malaysians for being part of this greater cause. As I've stated before, and as stated by Tunku Puteri Intan Safinaz earlier, we welcome the ceasefire in Gaza, which commenced on the 21st of May, following 11 days of hostilities. But unfortunately, the latest crisis have already left hundreds dead and thousands more injured, including women and children. Homes have been destroyed, livelihoods ruined, with orphanages, schools, and even the Palestinian Ministry of Health damaged by the Israeli missiles. As said by Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations last week, if there is a hell on earth, it is the lives of children in Gaza. Worse still, the COVID-19 pandemic we are all facing did not slow down or take a pause during these attacks. Palestinian doctors have also fallen victim to these disproportionate attacks by the Israeli side. Gaza's main coronavirus laboratory, the Al-Rimal Clinic, was attacked and destroyed. The conflict has set Gaza's COVID-19 response, which was already struggling over the last year, even further back. At least 95% of the population of Gaza, mostly cut off by an Israeli-led blockade, does not even have access to clean water, a nightmare scenario during a global pandemic. Now, ladies and gentlemen, while the ceasefire represents a crucial step forward in preventing further loss of lives and destruction, more work remains to be done. Given the dire situation in Gaza, our focus should now be on providing immediate and unimpeded humanitarian assistance for the Palestinian people and for the reconstruction of Gaza. For example, Malaysia stands ready to engage and support any initiatives with our partners to rebuild Gaza's only COVID-19 testing laboratory. Today, I am proud to announce the start of a larger campaign where the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is ready to work with all relevant parties to help those in need in Gaza. Thank you to the Malaysian Red Crescent Society and Her Highness Tunku Puteri Intan Safinaz for coming forward to work together with us on this. The Malaysian Red Crescent is one of the first organizations to approach us, and we acknowledge their importance as part of the global network of International Red Cross and Red Crescent. The Malaysian Red Crescent has also been in close contact with the Palestine Red Crescent to help us better understand the situation on the ground and what specific requirements are needed. As part of their efforts, I understand the Malaysian Red Crescent has launched their Aid for Palestine, raising money to help fund medical aid for Palestine Red Crescent Society. This month-long campaign will go towards the purchase of ambulances, medical equipment and supplies, medicines, and other relief items. I hope the Malaysian Red Crescent is successful in their aim to raise 1 million ringgit by the end of this month. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Wisma Putra, has established an account Amanah Kemanusiaan Rakyat Palestin, AAKRP, where funds from private organizations, state governments, NGOs, or civil society can be channeled for us to directly facilitate it for those on the ground. Last year, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, through the AAKRP, contributed $10,000 to the Al-Aqsa Mosque. The contribution was channeled through the Ministry of Awqaf, Islamic Affairs and Holy Places in the Kingdom of Jordan. Furthermore, Malaysia also contributed $120,000 to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency in the Near East, UNRWA, to cover their operating costs and programs. And since 2015, Malaysia has contributed as much as $600,000 to UNRWA. As your Minister of Foreign Affairs, or just as a fellow Malaysian, this is my plea. Please contribute willingly to assist our brothers and sisters in Palestine through the Malaysian Red Crescent. These funds will directly be channeled to the Palestinian Red Crescent through our AAKRP. I would also like to open up the AAKRP to any other bodies or organizations who are undergoing fundraising campaigns. Once your campaigns end, your funds to those in need. And in the spirit of transparency and accountability, the ministry will also publicly disclose who has contributed and where the funds are going to on a regular basis. So ladies and gentlemen, for our event today, again, I would like to thank the Malaysian Red Crescent for contributing a total of $30,000 to account Amanah Kemanusiaan Rakyat Palestin. It is a start, and on behalf of the Government of Malaysia and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I am pleased to announce that for now we will match that amount, delivering a total of $60,000 to the Palestinian Red Cross, or Red Crescent. As I said, this is merely the beginning, and I hope more organizations come forward to work with us in the ministry to channel the funds effectively and safely to Palestine. Today's effort is not merely symbolic, but it represents our consistent support and Malaysia's determination to help alleviate the sufferings of our Palestinian brothers and sisters. Your Highness, ladies and gentlemen, we must never lose sight of the prolonged suffering of the Palestinian people and the urgent need to end the Israeli occupation. Malaysia reiterates our call for Israel to stop its West Bank. All Palestinians deserve the same rights as we do, to live in peace and justice. Our resolute support and full solidarity with Palestine remains unwavering. To stand with Palestine is to stand with humanity. And I call on all of us to do the same. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as previously mentioned, MOFA is truly pleased to receive the support of the Malaysian Red Crescent Society, whom have been very generous to donate $30,000 to account Amanah Kemanusiaan Rakyat Palestin atau AAKRP, Ministry of Foreign Affairs Malaysia. MOFA will match that pledge, and in total, $60,000 will be channeled to the Palestine Red Crescent Society with hope that it will contribute to the rebuilding of Palestine. May I invite Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Hishammuddin, Her Highness Tunku Puteri Intan Safinaz, and Dr. Yunus to partake in the virtual mock check contribution handover. May I invite Her Highness Tunku Puteri Intan Safinaz to hand over the mock check to Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Hishammuddin, witnessed by Dr. Yunus.
Well, good afternoon, good morning here in Palestine. Thank you very much for inviting me to this launching of fundraising campaign in Malaysia for the Palestinian people. Your Excellencies, Your Highness, it's a pleasure to join you in this platform. Let me start by a few words of thank you, gratitude from Palestine for the leadership, government of Malaysia, represented by His Excellency, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and to the Malaysian Red Cross, to the Malaysian people, represented by Her Excellency. And in this respect, I think I can speak on behalf of the Palestinian leadership and the Palestinian people, not just the Palestinian Red Crescent, in these words of not just the fundraising, unprecedented aggression against Palestinians. Your Excellency, I would like to start with where you ended, that this is not a humanitarian crisis or situation. This is not a natural disaster in Palestine. And it is a political conflict that can only be resolved through political solutions. Yes, Palestinians deserve the dignity of independence, the dignity of self-determination as all people in the world. They cannot be kept in prison like in Gaza here, or under occupation like the whole of Palestine. This, we in the humanitarian field, as a humanitarian workers, feel very much frustrated because people look to us as a way to alleviate their suffering. And we know there is no humanitarian solution to a political conflict, and only politicians can solve it. Thanks Malaysia for its position, political position, for supporting an independent Palestinian state. What we have seen in the last days, where the whole Palestinian entity, starting from East Jerusalem, with all its symbolic means throughout, for Palestine, the Arab world, the Islamic world, and the Christian world. This cannot go on. I hope the world has awakened to really put an end to this suffering. You know, you have described the situation so eloquently, so nicely, perfectly, that gave me the right to speak a little bit of the side on politics, although I am a humanitarian worker and this is not my role. But really, the aggressiveness of this campaign, military campaign against Palestinians, has an unprecedented levels of suffering and needs in Palestine, all Palestine, and specifically in Gaza, because of the military campaign against Gaza. Palestinian infrastructures have been totally destroyed. Palestinian lives, and those are not just numbers of deaths and injuries, those are lives that has been lost, families that has lost their future. Only last night, yesterday, one extra dead person was pulled out from the garbage of his home in Gaza. And we still don't know how many are still under the rubbles. For us in the Palestine Red Crescent, we know our mission well as part of the movement of the Red Cross and Red Crescent societies. We know our partners, our sister national societies as the Malaysian Red Crescent are there to support us, are there to be with us, but also on the ground, there is a lot of work to do. There is a lot of needs that need to be addressed. We have launched an appeal to support our teams on the ground, but another very specific area. Yesterday, I was visiting our teams on the ground of psychosocial support. You know, it's not just the lives of people that has been lost, also the soul, the spirit of people needs to be repaired. Our teams are doing wonderful throughout Gaza Strip, throughout the cities of Gaza, to try and reach, and the heavy load of work now is for this. We have about 300 volunteers, psychologists, going around in teams, and there is an awareness within our people. They are calling them to come and help them and talk with them. The debriefing has become very important. It's that kind of support even is very much needed in Palestine. We are an ambulatory agency also. Yes, ambulances are needed. They are very much needed. Equipment for our hospitals, treating our injuries. Even the injured, after being recovered from injuries, there needs to be rehabilitation of this. There's a big list of priorities that the Palestine Red Crescent is working on. Let me end up again with thank you Thank you, Malaysia. Thank you, the Malaysian Red Crescent. Thank you, Malaysian government, represented by both of you. Thank you very much, and long live Palestine. Thank you.
Thank you, Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Hishammuddin, Her Highness Tunku Puteri Intan Safinaz, and Dr. Yunus is joining us live. Numerous Malaysian key figures have also played their part to show solidarity towards the plight of our brothers and sisters in Palestine. May I bring your attention to the screen where you can see a beautiful collage of individuals whom have used their influence for a good cause and bring more light on the atrocities happening in Palestine. Most I would like to thank Ida Nerina, Dinas Mukhtar, Ruzana Ibrahim, Daphne Aiking, Atilia Harun, Yasmin Yusuf, Harith Iskandar, Yasmin Hani, Dr. Jasmine, Ultimate, Yuna, Sazi Falak, Bella Daly, and Aisha Sinclair. Thank you so much. Count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Malaysia stands with Palestine.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our event. Again, allow me to convey the Ministry of Foreign Affairs' utmost thanks and appreciation to everyone who tuned in and for supporting our cause. Thank you also to our esteemed guests, Yang Berhormat Datuk Kamaluddin Jaafar, Her Highness Tunku Puteri Intan Safinaz, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Sri Muhammad Syahrul Ikram Yaakob, Your Excellency Walid Abu Wali, Dr. Yunis Al-Hatib, and MOFA Senior Management. I now invite you to stay connected for the press conference for Yang Berhormat Datuk Sri Hishammuddin Tun Hussein. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much. Have a good rest of the day and stay safe, everyone.